Mommy's Home Health. Welcome to our little chat we're going to have about adrenal health. This is a super important topic because our adrenals, they don't control everything, but everything sort of circles back to the adrenals. So I want to keep it as simple as I can because there is so much to learn about the adrenals. I don't want to talk too much about their function and everything because it's so overwhelming. When I first sort of read up on the adrenals, I was like, oh my gosh, so there's going to be words that you wouldn't know and long words that I probably can't pronounce. So if you're watching, give me a wave, let me know you're watching if you're enjoying it. So the adrenals are little glands that sit above our kidneys that regulate our stress response. They regulate our salt and sugar levels in our body, and also some hormones as well. So they help produce, I'm going to talk about two hormones that they help produce, which is cortisol and adrenaline. Now, adrenaline is that rush or that feeling you get when you're nervous, something's happened, you've been frightened, scared, angry, you're under attack of something, you've had a car accident. That kicking in is your flight or fight response. That's a surge of adrenaline. And that is your body responding to something that's happened. So often, if we are really, really stressed, highly stressed in life, we are in that constant fight or flight response. And our adrenals are releasing this adrenaline, or they don't have enough left to release and they are struggling. So this is why it's super important to manage your stress. Now, it's the same as the cortisol. Cortisol helps regulate your energy and your sleep. So when we are exercising or when we get up in the morning, we have a release of cortisol, and that gives us the energy to get through the day. If you are not sleeping properly, your sleep is out of whack, the times you sleep are out of whack, those are the things that is going to put your cortisol levels out. You're either going to have excess or not enough, or it's going to be produced at the wrong time of day. So those are the things that, are going to affect how you get through the day. This is why if you have really low energy, it's probably because you're not producing enough cortisol at the right time. If you can't get through exercise, or if you're doing too much exercise, you're releasing too much cortisol and you don't have enough left for the afternoon or something like that. So we want to regulate a balance. We want to balance how much cortisol we want to regulate how much cortisol and adrenaline we are releasing at the right times of day. So when we have that fight or flight response, we don't get a massive surge of adrenaline and then we get a really big drop in energy. So it's really, really important to manage our stress, because not only does your adrenals regulate, your adrenaline and your cortisol, it helps regulate your estrogen and your other hormones. Your other hormones are produced, in other parts of your body, but you get a small amount produced in your adrenals, but it also helps them regulate. So if our adrenals aren't working, it's like a cycle in our body. It can affect our heart, our liver, our gut, how we detox our other hormones, our weight, because adrenals regulate our metabolism, our immune system, our cardiovascular system. It's all like a big cycle. And when those little glands are overworked, it puts the link to the rest of the body out. So it's really important to step back and think about how you can support your adrenals. One is getting good sleep. Now, if your adrenals aren't working, it's really hard to get good sleep or to fall asleep. So having a good nighttime practice, bedtime practice, what you do to get to bed, is really important. Now, I have a sleep book coming out about how you can get better sleep, and that's going to help with your adrenal health. So sleep is really important. Reducing stress, which can be very difficult because there are a lot of stresses in our life that we don't necessarily, we have no control of, but we have control of how we react to it. So, having that positive mindset. We don't have to be negative about everything. We can look at the positive in things. There are a lot of negative situations that we only focus on the negative, but there are some positives that come out of it. So if we focus more on that, we're going to be happier and less stressed. There's things like meditation, yoga, being mindful of what exercise you do. If you are in your 40s and you are going to the gym, you're getting up at 6 a.m. and you've only had a couple of hours sleep, and then you're going and doing a really hard workout, it's not the right type of exercise for you. Doing a lot of cardio and working out for an hour and a half and you haven't slept, you're putting stress on your body. So making sure you're not putting stress on your body is very important. There's so many activities that you can do that reduce the adrenaline and cortisol levels to help you reduce your stress. There is mindfulness activities that you can do. So a lot of people like to do art or colour in. I used to actually get old furniture from people that they didn't want, and it was nice, and I would do it up and I would sit and paint it, and that was my little project, and that just got me focusing on that project, and the mind was just focusing on that and not on anything else that was going around me. So when you're doing a mindfulness activity, you're taking that stress out of what's going around you, and you're focusing on that, and it's bringing you down and de-stressing you. Breathing is very important. I talk about this all the time, but making sure throughout the day your mouth is closed and you are breathing through your nose is so important, because it regulates, oxygen through our body. We get all the cells oxygenated, and we are, hi Esther, I haven't seen you for ages. Hello. And it is helping regulate all the other functions in our body. So and also when we are sleeping at night and we have our mouth open, it's because we have it during the day, and that produces a lot more cortisol in our body because it's a stress response. When we breathe through our mouth, that is a stress response. We are upping the level of cortisol we have, which is stressing our adrenals. So see how everything is a cycle. Everything that you do can come back to your adrenal health. What you eat, if you eat really bad food, if you have a lot of caffeine, it can surge your adrenaline. All of these things can affect your adrenals. So focusing on closing your mouth and breathing through your nose. Now, if you are a mouth breather, when you first start breathing through your nose, it's going to feel like you're suffocating. So just do it a short period of time, a couple of times a day. Just start to go, okay, I'm breathing through my mouth. And start breathing through your nose and getting the oxygen all the way through your body and reducing that cortisol. Because when we start to breathe through our nose, we take longer breaths and we're getting more oxygen in, but it's reducing our stress levels. When you take that, it lowers your heart rate. So when we lower our heart rate, we are actually de-stressing. So when you are taking deep breaths through your nose and then out through your nose, not out through your mouth, out through your nose, you are actually lowering your heart rate, which is de-stressing you. I actually also have a book on that coming out called Conscious Breathing, and it is making you aware, and so a few little activities in there of how you breathe and how it affects the rest of your body. So at night, you snore or you have sleep apnea, it is very, very well worth the effort throughout the day for you to close your mouth and try to start breathing through your nose. And there are a lot of activities in this book that I can show you that will help you do that, but it makes a huge difference to your life, in all of your body, your gut, everything, your liver. When you start breathing properly, you are calming all the cells in your body and you are calming your adrenals. So also things like what you do throughout the day, how you respond to people. If there is somebody in your life that is stressing you out, you can remove yourself from that person. You might not be able to remove yourself completely, but you can stop involving yourself in their shit. Stop, getting involved, or, set some boundaries. Start saying no to people, because when we take on other people's crap, it's an energetic, we're absorbing their negative energy, and it is affecting our health, because everything is energy. So when we start to take on other people's crap, or we start to fight with people about things, you're not going to change their opinion or anything like that. You start to stress yourself out. Mums don't often understand boundaries. I get it. But, sometimes you have to really put things in place to have those boundaries, because it's a stress in your life and it's affecting your health. And if somebody doesn't understand that, you have to say to them, okay, I'm going to have a break from you for a while. And it's really difficult. I had a family member that I had to have a break from for a very long time, because every time we met up, I was so worried when I got home about what they were saying when I left, or what they'd done, or the lies they were telling. And it just becomes this vicious cycle of stress for you. And I didn't realize until I stopped. I didn't have to hang with that person, but I felt like I did. And once I stopped, the amount of stress that was out of my life was amazing. It was so releasing, and I really felt like that's where things started to change in my health. Because when you hang on to shit is when it stays in your body and your body starts to feed off it. So when we start to let go of stuff is when we can fully start to reset our body, because change is inevitable. We're always changing, and there are little things that you can do to change your health. And one of them may be setting boundaries and telling people no. A lot of us are givers. So whenever somebody needs something, we're like, right, I'm there. And it affects our health in another way, because we're not owning our own stuff and we're not looking after our own self. I bet you did. I bet you felt so relieved after that, Esther, like when you cut somebody off, or whatever, you put boundaries in, or when you say no, you realize, I don't have to say yes all the time. I don't have to please everybody. I'm more important than anybody else. My health is more important. So I need to start saying no. And at first it was kind of uncomfortable. It's like, oh my goodness, what are they going to think of me? Who cares? Because if they are a good person, or they love you, they will understand that you are honoring yourself. And if they don't get that, then that's not where you are in life. You are here to heal and move forward and get better. And you can't do that while people are dragging you down. So sometimes, you're going up the health chain and you're starting to feel better, but you have a bit of a weight just pulling you back down. It's really hard to drag that weight up with you. So sometimes you just got to drop that weight off so you can keep going up. Because as I mentioned before, all of this affects our adrenal health, and that affects our sleep. Those are the two most important things that we need to focus on when we are getting better. Is sleep, because it's restorative, it's regenerating our body, all the cells. It's helping our digestive system have a rest. It's helping our brain, our mind have a rest. It's helping everything rest in our body. If that doesn't rest, then we don't rest, we don't regenerate, and we don't start to feel better. So sleep is important, but focusing on the adrenals is also important. So this vicious cycle we keep having is what is causing a lot of the issues in our body, and the weight gain and the things like that. So what I want you to do is start to look at some of the practices that are going to help you de-stress. A lot of people use things like ashwagandha, red dates, the dried red dates, used a lot in Chinese medicine. They are all very calming. I use essential oils. I swear by them. I didn't use them for calming at first, I must admit, because I resisted all of that. I use them a lot for the physical. But if you're using them for the physical, they're going to work on you emotionally, whether you accept it or understand it or not, because our sense of smell is directly connected to our emotional center of the brain. So when we're smelling an essential oil, we are affecting the emotional center of our brain, whether we know it or not. So using essential oils is super amazing. And that is why reducing the toxins in your life is important, because when we are blocking our sense of smell with chemicals, particularly perfume, we are blocking our emotional center, because they are synthetic smells. We don't want our body smelling synthetic smells because they are poison to our body. We want our body smelling natural, non-toxic smells that are going to help not only our body, regenerate at a cellular level, but, our emotional and our mental health. We want to support that as well because it's very, very important. So when we are looking at the adrenal health, all of those things come into play is the emotions, the mental health, the non-toxic, natural health is very, very important. I use a product that I swear by for reducing my stress, other than essential oils. It does have ashwagandha in it. It has turmeric, it has bacopa, green tea. It has all of the things in it that help reduce your stress, help support the adrenals, help support the liver, help support the cardiovascular system. And since they're all connected, it is going to help support them all at once. So it's called, it's an NRF2 activator, and it activates the NRF2 pathway in your body, which is your master detoxification pathway. So there's nothing else like it on the planet. There is nothing, it's not a supplement, it's an activation, it's different, and it activates that NRF2 pathway in your body. And that is what helps produce antioxidants in our body. When we eat food, we are consuming antioxidants, but we want our cells to produce the antioxidants, and that's what the NRF2 does. So if you are interested in learning a bit more about that, pop a comment down below and say, I'd love to learn about NRF2, or just a little hand up or smiley face or something, and I will send you some information, because it changed my life. It literally, my adrenals were like, all the time, and I started to do some things to help bring it down, but I could not get rid of the heart pounding, which was what the adrenaline and cortisol was surging all the time through my body. So that helped bring it down, and then I was able to do some like yoga, and just the mind calmed down, my focus and attention was better. So if you have any adrenal questions, I've only touched on this subject. I could probably do another 5 lives on adrenal health, and I will do some more, but this was just basic information for people who are just starting out on their journey, because I don't want to overload you or overburden you. It's so overwhelming when you start to learn about your body. I get it, because I used to read things and I'd be like, oh my God, what are they talking about? So I want to reduce the overwhelm for you. That's why I created my program. All of this is in my program. Everything, what oil, doTERRA, good girl. I love balance, and I put a bit of wild orange with it sometimes. Sometimes, like any oil really can help you, adaptive. But I love in the afternoon when my energy might start to fade. Haven't done this as much lately because I don't get that low energy, but I used to really put a drop of peppermint and a drop of wild orange, and you can use any oil, and just sit and put them over my nose, not too close, and just start to take deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose, really slowly. 1, it gets your heart rate down. 2, it de-stresses you. 3, you've got the oils going through your body. The peppermint's great for the respiratory system, the digestive system, cardiovascular, the mind, and the orange is uplifting and gives you a little bit of energy. So does the peppermint. So doing this practice where you just inhale your oils deeply and breathe in through your nose is going to help calm the adrenals. It's going to help calm your whole body and have a whole host of other things happen in your body. So that is a fantastic practice. I can't express enough how good it is to inhale essential oils from the palm of your hand, and it calms the mind. And that's where you're focusing. You're just focusing on the breath. And that is important, really important, to focus on the breath. While you're focusing on that, you're not focusing on anything else. So if you have any questions, let me know. I love answering them. Just pop them in the comments. But in my program, I go through all of these things: how to de-stress, how to breathe properly. I have the ebooks as well, which is the sleep book and the conscious breathing book. And the program, it's nutrition, it's reducing toxins, it's reducing stress, all the step-by-step things that you need to reduce the overwhelming lot of information that you're getting all the time. And, you know, if you want to go on the list, the pre-sale list for the program, send me your email address and I'll pop you on my email list, and then you'll get some information about it when it's coming out. It's really soon. I'm just waiting on my website to be finished. And, you know, you'll get some recipes with that. You'll get DIY recipes. You get a lot of information, a lot of information. This is all the information that I have gathered in the last 8 years, and I've gathered a lot of information, and I've used a lot of products, and I've, you know, done a lot of things for my health, and all of it is going to save you so much time, energy, and money just to have one program in one spot. And you'll go into a Facebook group where you'll be supported the whole time. So thank you. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll get me or my team to answer them for you.